One of my favorite things about the Sunset Speedway limited late model roster is that not only does it has the veteran presence, your guys like Tom Walters and Dwayne Baker and Chris Morrow. You got your blue chip prospects, your youngsters, your up-and-comers. It's a great mix of guys from different backgrounds and different levels of experience. And one of these guys that really came out of nowhere and started to turn heads in the last 2 years is my man Livewire, Nick Goetz. I got Nick on the line right now. He's been crazy busy with work getting ready for 2016. Nick, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, man. I know you're insanely busy right about now.
Yes, thanks, Spencer. I really appreciate the phone call. Yes, just getting things lined up here with work and racing, obviously, here.
Now, 2015 was a huge year for you. I mean, I feel like it marked you kind of turning a corner in your development as a race car driver, in your development as a member of the Sunset Speedway roster. You rattled off a couple of wins. You were on pole a few times. I think you were the only guy that was able to rival Taylor Holdaway for the number of times sitting on the pole, which was no easy feat. Both you guys were rocket ships. I mean, you have to be really, really happy because so much work had to go into getting you to that point last season.
Yeah, I can't believe actually how well I did do last year. I mean, I know we weren't close in the points or anything. We got taken out of the points there in the middle with the DNF, but I mean, I didn't know what to think coming into the season. You know, I knew I had Rick and all the McCulls on board. I just didn't know what to think. But, I mean, man, what we did last year was more than what I thought was actually going to happen, you know, having 3 wins. And like you said, you know, being contention with Holdaway for at least the pole anyways. But he was a rocket ship himself in a totally different world last year. But, I mean, yeah, I was really surprised.
I mean, when you go up and down the Sunset roster, it's full of guys that were raised in the sport or guys that have been doing this for, you know, 2 or 3 decades. They've been around a long time. The late model division Sunset, it's just not the sort of place that you see guys walking off the street or walking out of the stands. Those are rare, and rarer still are the guys that are able to do that and then start to excel. The fact that you were able to come in with no background in racing and start winning races in less than 5 years is pretty unbelievable. Has your progress surprised you at all, how quickly you've picked everything up?
Yeah, I think so to a certain point. You know, you're absolutely right. I don't come from a racing background at all. I mean, the only way I really got into this was my man Jason Parker that, you know, got me into this. I mean, I look at a lot of people at Sunset, you know, their whole families in the background of racing. Not only are they in the racing, like they own their own garage or shop. The whole family is just all racing oriented. And me, I mean, none of my family has anything to do with racing. Like my family barely comes out to the races because it's so far away. But my wife supports me and she's there. But I mean, I was definitely surprised at how well, you know, I've come. And, you know, I'm this year at Sunset, we're going for a championship. We definitely got the manpower, definitely got all the knowledge. It's just a matter of me, you know, wheeling the car around because we've got great equipment. So it's just a matter of, you know, lining up the ducks and putting them in a row as well.
You mentioned your wife supporting you. I feel like that oversimplifies it. Deborah holds it down on race day, man. She's everywhere. She's making sure that you got what you need. She's feeding the team. She's taking notes. I mean, she does so much. What's it been like for her? Because she doesn't come from a racing background either. So for her to meet your crazy ass and then get thrown right into this, I mean, she's taking to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, no, she definitely does a lot for me. Like, not even at the racetrack, you guys don't even see half of it, obviously, and what she does for me, you know, with work and at home and stuff. She definitely takes care of me. I definitely couldn't do it without her. There's no question about it. I mean, I think the only 2 times last year that she wasn't at the racetrack, I happened to be in the hospital. That was at Delaware and Flamborough. So she's definitely good luck for being there anyway. Now,
the Sunset division, it's so hard to pick up wins, man, and it's even harder to chase a championship just because you have just this logjam of talent. I had Gord Shepard on the phone last night. He said there are 16 cars on the roster that could win at any given time. And then you go and look at the roster, and it's like, oh, man, like he's absolutely right. Like there are so many good teams. you mentioned about making a run for the championship. Knowing that you're up against that level of competition, what kind of preparation mentally does it take out of someone like you?
Well, that's it. I mean, you got to be mentally prepared. I mean, there's no question about it. You know, you got to be prepared at the shop. And since at our wedding last year, when all the McCullough guys were at our wedding, you know, that's when we kind of started preparing already. You know, the fact that we got in their mindset early, running for a championship. We got to make sure, you know, everything is prepared and ready to go. Me, as a driver, definitely got to come prepared and mentally, because I know each night the boys are going to give me a very good car. We did struggle with the built motor in the summertime last year a little bit, but I definitely think that we worked through that towards the end of the year as we were making another game there towards the end of the year. But hopefully we can, you know, have a really solid year. I mean, another thing to win a championship is you got to, each week you got to, you know, you got to be competitive each week, but you got to be consistent to gain as many points as you possibly can.
Now, I know you're such a competitive dude, and you were able to play minor hockey at a pretty elite level. Did that sort of pave the way for you being as competitive as you are now? I mean, I know that hockey has nothing to do with racing in terms of the when you get right down to it, but that compete, that wanting to be better than the guy next to you, is that where that all comes from, your sporting days as a younger man?
It definitely does. I mean, right out of when I was 6 years old, and the drive and determination that I've gotten from my family, just being in hockey, playing in Junior B, Junior C, into the OHL for 1 year with the Kitchener Rangers. I was a goalie through all my life, and they definitely say goalies are a different breed. I'm definitely a different breed, but I mean, hard work pays off, man. I'm driven, determined. I am one hard worker out there. I mean, you know, they always say, you know, money can't buy stuff or whatever, but I mean, you got to work hard to get anything that you do want, and the hard work does pay off.
And hey, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? I mean, some of these guys might have the experience level over you, but if they're not putting in the hours that you and your team are, that's where you can find those advantages and find those holes to start making up ground on the guy next to you.
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, that's absolutely right. I mean, like we were saying about the money thing or whatever, you know, they say that it's hard work, you know, pays off. It's not all about the money, you know. Well, I mean, I can't, you know, afford to work on my own race car and stuff. You know, I have to work hard to, you know, for the guys to, you know, get my cars and stuff prepped all week. But that's all about hard work and determination, and that's kind of where it starts to, you know, get all your ducks in a row to win a championship.
I mean, and you've assembled a phenomenal team in terms of the guys, the guys that come and throw everything down for you at the racetrack on Saturday afternoon. Your relationship with Rick McCall, it's kind of cool. He sort of plays that big brother role for you, where I can tell how much he's taught you just in the last year. I mean, every time I'm around, he's just sort of giving you some knowledge, and you're just soaking it up like a sponge. But another guy that you've really seemed to find a bond with is Paul Genioli Jr. It felt like what he brought to your team in 2015 was almost immeasurable.
Oh, absolutely. Rick, he's my best man. There's no question about it. If he was longer in my life, he would have been my best man at my wedding. That on the side note. But no, I mean, with Rick, it's just the amount of stuff that he's taught me and the way we gel. I mean, I call that guy every single day, and we just, you know, talk about certain things. I mean, one thing this year over the winter, I've spent more time at the racetrack learning with Paul Genioli Jr. And then there's Paul Genioli. Like, he's like the guy on the radio is just, you know, he's teaching me, and it's like I have so much confidence in him that I can drive the car a little bit harder, right? I've just had great experience and great help, and I really hope, you know, all this does pay off, because, I mean, they have put a lot of work in these tires over the winter.
Now, when you find yourself in a less than favorable position on the racetrack, when you get stuck in a line that's not moving and you're going backwards and you're starting to get a little anxious and starting to freak out a little bit, how important is it to have Paul Genioli Sr. on the radio doing a little bit of cheerleading and a little bit of coaching for you?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, I just tell him, talk my ear off. You're not going to hear much from me. Talk me through it. And he can see the line that I'm driving, and he can tell me. And after each practice, each race, we're always, he's always telling me, about my line and my exit, my entry, in the middle, right? And then I'm trying to give him as much feedback as I can, and I get better and better at it, right? So, I mean, we're definitely gelled to it. So, year after year here, I mean, it's going to be the point where the 24 is going to be a champion. It's just a matter of time.
Now, you're obviously committed to being the best Nick Goetz you can be at Sunset, but you also have this other venture with your Pro Late Model, with your APC United Late Model Series team. Tell me a little bit about what you have planned for 2016, because I know there's at least one conflict between Sunset and the APC Tour. When it comes down to brass tacks, if you can only run for one championship, which one would you pick?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Mike McCullough said, I mean, it depends when it comes down to the points and stuff, but, I mean, our goal is to run for the Sunset Championship. I tell you, with the Pro Late, yeah, we struggled last year. No question about it. It's a different animal. A lot faster. The competition is just that much more greater. I mean, honestly, I swear, I just use that car as for practice and testing, to be honest, because when I get out of that car and I go into the limited, like I proved at Peterborough last year, like, it was just a rocket going from the Pro Late into the limited. I was, it was just that much more experience, and I use the Pro Late as more of like a test and a practice, but that's going to get better too. We did struggle last year again, but we're going to get out of that, and we're going to keep going, because the one thing you'll ever find about me is I never quit. I never give up, and I look forward to gaining all of the experience and I can out of that Pro Series.
Now, when you say you never quit, I believe you, because I don't think anyone would have blamed you had you quit after the accident you had at Frosttoberfest last year. For those that weren't there, you got hit pretty violently as you were going into turn one. The car spun around. You hit the wall. I mean, full tilt. There was a fire. I think it hit hard enough that it cracked your Lexan. It was just such a violent crash. When I saw it, I mean, I had legitimate concern for your well-being. I mean, knowing how safe these cars are built, I was still worried about the element of injury, just at the angle that you went in, at the velocity you went in. Were there any lasting effects from how hard you hit at Flamborough?
No, not really. I mean, I haven't even really thought about it since that day, really. I mean, I'm kind of thankful that it happened the last race of the year, right? So, because sometimes they always say, if it happens during the year, like, when are you going to come out of it? Is it going to affect you? You know what I mean? I don't think in any way it's affected me. I'm just going to get right back in the car as if, that never really even happened. I mean, sure, the pictures, they say it was pretty horrible. I was scared, I'm not going to lie. I got out of that car when I seen that fireball on my windshield real fast. It did scare me. Going to the hospital and to the doctor, and then them finding fracture in my 6th and 7th vertebrae in my neck was scary again. But it is what it is. I mean, the only thing that's going to heal a fracture is arthritis down the road. There's no concerns there. So, but I look forward to getting back in that car and giving her. Now,
the Pro Late model that you field this year, is it the exact same chassis? I mean, was Mike McCall and the team able to salvage anything out of that car? Because that looked like one of those wrecks where you pull your gauges and your seat out of it and you send the rest to scrap. But are you telling me that they were able to salvage some parts?
Oh, they actually were more than what I thought. I mean, it was just the rear clip that was done for. They cut it off. They redid it. Then they redid the front one there at Delaware. So it's front and rear on that one, but that chassis is for sale. But we redid a whole new chassis, took everything off that car and bolted it onto the new chassis because all the other parts were good. But we look forward to seeing what this chassis has, because once again, all the boys at McCullough's have done an even better car with more research, more knowledge, trying different things, right?
You were largely raised on these 35 lap features. I know we did a season of the 50 lap features at Sunset, but you're primarily a short-run guy. The fact that the APC races are considerably longer at 100 laps, might that have been part of the reason why you had such a steep learning curve and why it was so difficult for you to adjust to the pro late model as opposed to the relative early success you've had in a limited late model?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, you got to be consistent for 100 laps. I know, being in the car that long and things would get to you and just not consistent enough, right? I mean, the speed, it's also faster. You're carrying faster speed into the corners. I mean, the competition is even that much more greater. You got your Dale Shaw, your Jason Parker, your Chenoweth, your Gresso. There's so many more out there. I mean, they can make you look bad when you think you're doing good. They're just that much better and that much more knowledge. But it's like I said, it's from night and day going from the pro to the limited. But again, we're going to use it as more practice, and we're going to get better at that car too. Because someday Mike wants to get me into a super. So one class at a time, I say.
Yeah, they got you on the fast track, my man. I mean, it's out of the frying pan into the fire. Every time you figure one car out, you're moving on to something else. But that's the only way you're ever going to get better. You see a lot of these kids coming up now. They're sort of taking the same approach. So I'm certainly not saying that Mike McCall is wrong, because so far your development has been right on par. That's everything. You've sort of done everything that they've wanted you to do. I guess the next step is a Sunset Speedway championship. Now, one of the big news stories coming out of this off season was no tire soaking at Sunset this year. All drivers seem to be in favor of it, but it's almost like a 50-50 split. Some guys think that it's not really going to affect the way the racing plays out at Sunset. Other teams feel like it's going to completely shake everything up. Now, you've competed in a pro late model where they do not allow tire soaking. You've competed full-time in a limited late model where they do allow for tire soaking. So you kind of understand both elements of it. Does it feel that much different when you're in a car with soaked tires? Are you going to have to adjust your driving style that much more on a Saturday night now at Sunset Speedway?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really pay attention to that much stuff too. Like, the boys know the rules. They make the car to, obey by the rules, right? I mean, is there a difference? I mean, I can't really tell the difference with the tires soaked because, again, between the limited to the pro, with the tires being soaked, with the pro, like, you can't soak them. It's too hard to tell. I can't really tell what the difference is going to be like. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I guess everybody will be on a same level playing field, because I know guys last year were apparently soaking them for like 40 hours a week. I wish I had that kind of time.
Well, and from what I understand from guys that really understood the tire soaking technology, that sort of got all the benefits out of it, was that they allowed you to be a little bit harder on your equipment, a little bit harder on your tires. They were more forgiving. You could go like hell and still have something left at the end of the night, at the end of two features. Now, where we might see a bit of a difference is that when tires fall off, they're gone. I mean, they're not coming back. You can't drag extra life cycles out of them like you may have in 2015. Knowing that, you're kind of a balls out guy. That's what makes you so much fun to watch. You go like hell every chance you get. The fact that now you're going to have to save your tires a little bit and try to drag some extra life out of them when you didn't have to do that before, is that a bit of a concern for you, that you gotta learn to walk all over again?
Yeah, the boys last year, even in that 125 lap, they're like, save your stuff, and I think I was leading for like the first 75 laps way out front, not saving my stuff. But like you said, yeah, I go balls to the wall. I like to, run before I can walk, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. I think I heard it in one of your interviews with Chris Morrow there too. I mean, it might cause, some more slipping and sliding around too, that nobody's getting that extra little grip. So it's going to be interesting to see with, traffic around and all that. That's for sure.
Now, opening night's coming up in 2 weeks, and I know, every single one of these interviews I've done, the guys have told me, hey, it's so important to get a big start. It's so important to start that year off in victory lane, sort of let yourself know you've got a package to win, let your competitors know that you've got something to contend with. I haven't had one person tell me it's really not a big deal. You know, you don't have to win on opening night. That has not been the attitude of the fellas I've interviewed so far. Where do you stand? I mean, is this something you have to get done? Do you have to get the 24 to victory lane on night number 1?
Well, absolutely. I mean, championships are start to finish. They're consistent, you know. I mean, sure, there's going to be times where you're going to have a bad night. You just got to go. You got to go through it, go with the flow. You got to get as much points as you can. You got to act like a champion if you want to be a champion. I mean, I think last year what happened on the first night with Holdaway. I mean, I know he broke just a mechanical failure. That's going to happen in racing. But what did he do? He just, you know, picked it all up and the next week and the way he went, right? I mean, I think something happened to us the first night too. I mean, I think I spun out. That's what it was. I spun out in qualifying, and I was going for the pole, and I still got a third spot. But then the next 2 weeks, I got 2 poles in a row, and then I won 2 nights in a row, right? So, absolutely, you got to put it all on the line right away. You want to have a good start. I mean, that's what I was taught in hockey. You want to win game 1. Well, you want to go for the checkered flag on night 1. You want to build the confidence right away. You don't want to be behind the 8 ball.
Now, at no time in your career have you ever been afraid of competition. You've never run from large-scale events or full fields or, you know, elite-level competition, and that's something that I think that everybody can get on board with, that you've always sort of run to the front of the line and said, okay, I'm in. You know, no matter what race it is, no matter where it is, I'm in. The 24 car will be there. So let's talk Autumn Colors Classic. It's the biggest race of the year. You were a hair's breadth away from winning it. The car it snapped loose on you. You sort of gave it away. I mean, how has that played on your mind? How much have you thought about that, and how motivated are you to come out and right that wrong and win that race in 2016?
Yeah, if there's anything over the off season that still boggles my mind, it's definitely that race. There's no question about it. That car was on rails. I had so many people come up to me. I think I had some tears in my eyes after that race because I just couldn't. I was so devastated. My mom and my brother were there and everything, and they were gonna, you know, I was close to getting my first win, and just in front of them is what I mean. But I mean, to set the record straight, I mean, the amount of fluid that was on that track from all the wrecks and cautions that race, it was not the car getting loose. I just came out of 2, and the car just came around so fast. I hit some oil, and it was coming from that 71 car or somebody's car out there. Because they came up to me after, and they said they were leaking fluid all over the track. But I mean, hey, we're gonna have another Autumn Color chance this year, and hopefully we can get our first Autumn Colors win.
I mean, is that one of those moments like when you're in goal and you give up a soft one? You sort of just gotta forget all about it. You gotta have that short memory. Is this the same kind of situation?
Pretty much. I mean, I definitely felt like I let the whole team down. I mean, I know Rick was mad. Rick wants to win, you know, more than anybody too, right? It makes him look good too. But it definitely is the same comparison as when you let a soft goal and when you're in the net too. You're letting the team down. But like Rick says too, you know, you got to get it past you because there's next weekend right around the corner. So here we are, another year, and we're going to get some more checkered flags and go for a championship.
I love your attitude, brother. That's what you got to do. I mean, you just got to bite down on that mouth guard and dig deep and go to war with some of these dudes. You're going to have your chance to prove yourself all over again in 2 weeks' time. I can't wait. We'll see if you can get the 24 car on pole and in victory lane to start off the 2016 season. Why don't you go ahead and thank the guys that work so hard and the marketing partners that help you pay the bills to be there every Saturday?
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Spencer, for everything you do. You're the man of Canada. There's no question about that. I'd just like to say a big thanks to all the McCalls out there, Rick, Todd, Mike McCall, everybody at the shop, Paul Ganoli Jr. I'd like to thank Lake Huron Rod and Gun, Mondo Car Wash Products, Super 8, Lord Elgin's Fish and Chips, Rosner's Auto Service. We picked up a new sponsor there, Hoofing It, your local butcher in Port Elgin. And yeah, just like to thank all my race fans out there as well.
And on Twitter at NG Motorsports 24 and on Facebook, the official Nick Goetz Racing page. Nick, a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll see you on opening night on April 30th.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you in Victory Lane.
There you have, folks. That's Livewire. Nick Goetz getting ready for a very busy 2016 season, and it all starts at Sunset Speedway in the Sauble Falls Tent and Trailer Park Division on April 30th.